Hello everyone, my name is Mieczysław Suska and I am Managing Delivery Architect at Capgemini Warsaw. Before I get started with my presentation, I would like to say thank you for the invitation. It's a huge pleasure and privilege to be on this virtual stage today among amazing people, amazing speakers who drive innovation on a daily basis in our industry. The second thing I would like to say, I'm more than happy that I can give you my presentation about creating virtual assistants or chatbots by using JavaScript. So let's have a look. Let's get started. Before we go to the practical part of my presentation, I would like to tell you shortly about long history of chatbots, because in my opinion, it's quite interesting. The definition of chatbot has been added to Oxford Dictionary in 1990s, and according to that definition, chatbot is a computer program designed to simulate conversation with human users, especially over the internet. What's funny, the definition is much younger than the first chatbot. Elisa has been released in 1966, and it simulated, or maybe better, she simulated conversation with psychotherapist. If you'd like to talk to Elisa, she's still available online. After Elisa, we had amazing, incredible chatbot solutions. For example, first chatbot with integrated text-to-speech algorithm. In 2001, we had chatbot, which passed as the first chatbot Turing test. And new era of virtual assistants. I think all of us remember this date. In 2011, Apple released Siri, one of the most popular virtual assistants nowadays. In 2015, Amazon released Alexa. In 2016, Facebook announced that Messenger will be a lead platform for chatbots. And what's interesting, during F8 conference in 2018, Facebook stated that on Messenger there is more than 300,000 active chatbots. Currently, we're waiting for Google Mina. It's chatbot from Google, and according to this company, Mina can talk about anything because it is trained based on conversation on social media. If we take a look at the numbers, you will see that in 2019, according to Business Insider report, chatbot market was worth $2.6 billion. In 2024, according to the same report, chatbot market will be worth $9.4 billion. But in my opinion, this number will be much bigger because the report was prepared before situation we all have now. I think that's one of the reasons why the biggest companies would like to participate in this market, why they prepare some kind of platform services or frameworks which help us to prepare and to create chatbots or virtual assistants. So please have a look at tools we can use now. We have open source rasa.com. There is a service from Google called Dialogflow. We have IBM Watson. Amazon has Amazon Lex. And we have also a solution from Microsoft called Microsoft Bot Framework. And this framework I would like to use today to create chatbot, which will help us to find some flights on a specified date. So let's start with practical part of my presentation. I think we can start with simple hello world, or maybe in this case would be better to name it hello bot. So please have a look at the code. To everyone who has an experience in writing code in Node.js, in writing REST APIs in that technology, this code looks familiar. And that's true. Chatbots written in Microsoft Bot Framework are nothing more than REST APIs. We have here a server which is listening on specified port. We need to expose some endpoint, API messages in this case. The one and only difference between a regular API and chatbot is that here we have some class bot framework adapter, some object of type bot framework adapter. Bot framework adapter is a class from Microsoft Bot Framework, and this is one of the most important class in this framework. It is responsible. It encapsulates authentication. That's the first thing. The second thing, it is responsible for receiving incoming activities from end users and turn it into turn context object, and it sends the context to bot logic. In this case, bot logic is very simple because our hello bot, everything it has to do is incoming message is send. It has to send back incoming message by adding at the beginning you said. So please have a look at the demo how our hello bot works. Let me switch my screen. Okay, so let's start talking to hello bot. I've texted to our hello bot, and as you can see, our bot already answered me by sending you said hello JsPoland 2020. If I click my message on the right side, you will see a couple of important information. For example, who sent this message, who is recipient of this message, it might be not message, activity, type of activity. In this case, the type is message, content of activity of this message, and a couple of metadata, for example, timestamps or IDs, channel ID, conversation ID, etc., etc. That kind of information are sent as an activity also to our bot framework adapter, and adapter turns this information plus message as turn context object, which is sent to bot logic, as I said. So from bot logic, we have an access to all those information, which is in some cases very useful. Let's go back to my presentation. The program I used to talk to my hello bot, that was Bot Framework Emulator. Bot Framework Emulator is open source application, part of Microsoft SDK, and the code is available on GitHub. Okay, the next task we have to add to our bot is we need to separate somehow logic, bot logic from server logic. So we can achieve it by adding activity handler class. Activity handler class is a part of Microsoft Bot Framework. It is an extensible class which can handle different types of incoming activities and handle them in an event-driven way. What kind of incoming activities you can have? You already know sending message. That kind of event is handled by onMessage handler. If some user join our chat or channel, that event, that action will be handled by onMembers added. For example, on Microsoft Teams, it's possible to click like button under specified post. So that kind of action can be handled by onReactions added. So let's have a look at modified version of HelloBot. As you can see, I rename it to Flybot. That's first thing. The second thing, I've added a class called Flybot, which inherits activity handler class. And within this class, I've added two handlers onMessage, which contains old logic from HelloBot. That's first thing. The second thing, I added the second handler onMembers added. So if someone will join our chat and start talking to our Flybot, we will greet that person by sending message hello and welcome to JsPoland 2020. If we take a look at the server side, everything we had to do was to import, obviously, a new created class, create an instance of that class, and within a process activity method, we needed invoke asynchronously method run from activity handler class. And method run is responsible for getting from turn context object all activities, and it emits proper events which are handled by Flybot handlers. Okay, the next problem we have to solve is typical scenario for almost every chatbot. we have to answer a question how to gather data from our users. In Microsoft Bot Framework, there's a couple of ways we can achieve it. For example, you can use Dialog Library, a very popular and widely used library, which helps us to collect data provided by our end users. But I have that gut feeling that in this case, we should go big and use some artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let's go for it. Let's integrate machine learning with our chatbot. We can use LUIS AI. LUIS means language understanding, and this is one of the Microsoft cognitive services. LUIS AI will help us to recognize intents and gather entities from incoming message provided by our end users. So please have a look how to set up LUIS AI. Let me switch my screen. Okay. Everything you have to do is to go to LUIS AI, log in, and after that you have to create some conversation application. As you can see, I've added Flybot. The next step is that you have to add some kind of intents. In my case, I've added 3 of them: frequent asked questions, none, that was added by default, by the way, and search flight. Okay, so let's go to search flight. The next step we have to do is we need to train our machine learning models to allow them properly recognize our intents we've added. We can do this by adding a couple of sentences, couple of messages under each intent. As you can see, under search flight intent, I've added a couple of questions or messages. So could you find me some flight from Krakow to Munich on specified date? The next one is I need 2 tickets from London to Sydney on Christmas Eve this year, etc., etc. Obviously, the more utterances, the better. The more precise will be your machine learning models. That was first thing. The second thing you have to do is you have to find in every sentence some words or expression which holds important information. Flybot API I will use later requires three parameters. The first one is an airport I would depart from. The second one is an airport I will arrive at, or our user will arrive at, and obviously date time. That's why I've selected here some city names or code of airports. If you prepare all intents, you add a couple of examples. The next step you have to do is you have to train machine learning model, test it, and if it turns out that everything works like a charm, models are precise, you can publish your models. And that's all. That's all you have to do. So after that, you have to connect your chatbot with LUIS API. So please have a look how to do this. Let's go back to our Flybot class. And as you can see, I needed to import 2 classes, LUIS application and LUIS recognizer from Bot Builder AI library. This is part of, obviously, Microsoft Bot Framework. After that, let's focus on LUIS recognizer. After that, you have to create an instance of LUIS recognizer class by invoking constructor with 2 input parameters. The first parameter is of type LUIS application. LUIS application contains some kind of credentials which are generated on LUIS AI service. It is application ID, some endpoint, and some secret. The second parameter, this is recognizer options, and in this case, this is some version of API I would like to use. And that's all. If you have an instance of this LUIS recognizer class within onMessage handler, we can invoke asynchronously method recognize by adding as input parameters our object turn context. So have a look at how LUIS recognizer works. Okay, so I've prepared, I need to restart. Okay. So as you can see, I have bot framework emulator, and I joined chat. So my Flybot sent me a message, hello and welcome to JsPoland 2020. So that means that this handler on members added has been triggered. So let me write some text which will be sent to our Lewis AI. I need a ticket from Wrocław to New York on next Monday. So let's have a look. Okay, as you can see, our Flybot responded, sent us two answers. The first one, this is original response from Lewis AI. The second one, this is a model I've prepared based on original response from Lewis AI. So as you can see, expression on next Monday was automatically recognized, and our model contains date time in a proper format I expected. So let's go back to my presentation. That's what Lewis AI response looks like. We have here a message I've sent to Lewis AI, intents, found intents with score, so probability. In this case, probability is almost 99. It's 99%, and recognize entities. Lewis AI recognized 3 entities: airport from, so Wrocław, JFK, the second entity, and obviously date time. As I said, Lewis AI is a really great and powerful service, but it has some kind of limitations. The biggest one is that Lewis fully supports only 7 languages, and unfortunately, Polish language is not included in that set. What more we can do for our bot? We can use the next cognitive service from Microsoft. So if you would like to build your to add to your bot some models based on PDF documents or SharePoint pages or frequent asked questions pages, you can use Q&A Maker, which will help us to achieve it. So how to set up a Q&A Maker? Let's go to. We have to go to Q&A Maker AI login, and after that you have to create a knowledge base. If you create knowledge base, everything you have to do is to upload either PDF documents or Word documents, or you can add some link to frequently asked questions, for example to frequently asked questions page. For demo purposes, I've added frequently asked questions from lot.com, and based on that page, I will create machine learning models. And the next feature of Q&A Maker is that it allows to add some kind of personality to your bot. Personality, what does it mean? Personality, so chit chat. This is an ability to answer messages like, for example, hello, how are you, thank you, who you are, etc., etc. So this in Q&A Maker, we can choose between a couple of types of chit chat. For example, our chatbot can be very friendly, very enthusiastic, or very formal or professional. So as you can see, I've added a chit chat of type professional. So my bot, Flybot, will be very, very formal. So if you uploaded all documents, if you add pages, frequent asked question pages, plus you've selected personality for your bot, everything you have to do is to save and train your machine learning models. After that, Q&A Maker will build some machine learning models, as I said, mark entities automatically, and it will be ready to be used. So as you can see, we have some kind of grid with, on the left side, we have questions and rated answer to each question. Let's go back to my presentation. Okay, how to connect Flybot to Q&A Maker API? Similar to Lewis AI. everything we have to do is to import Q&A Maker from Bot Builder AI library, and after that we have to create an instance of class Q&A Maker by adding a couple of credentials which are also generated on a Q&A Maker service. After that, if you'd like to get an answer from Q&A Maker, everything you have to do is to asynchronously invoke method get answers with input parameters of type turn context. So have a look at the code, at the demo, and my conversation with Flybot with some personality. Let's start with simple hello. So as you can see, personality works. Let me send something else. Very human. So as you can see, I've added an answer. I'm digital. In other words, I'm not human. So as you can see, this chit chat functionality feature works like a charm. What we can do more? I can send message from frequently asked question of lot.com. But I need to cancel my reservation. Can you help me? So as you can see, Q&A Maker found some proper answer and sent me back. So that's how it works. And this is original response from Q&A Maker AI. It's quite similar to Lewis AI. As you can see, we have questions we've sent to Q&A Maker, an answer with highest probability, score for that answer, and source of where the answer was found. Q&A Maker also has some kind of limitations, but here it's better than in Lewis AI because here we have it supports more than 50 languages, including Polish, which is great, but on GChat supports only 9 languages. Okay, guys, I would like to show you now the final version of my Flybot. So the one and only difference between Flybot, you've seen the code of the Flybot you've seen during my presentation, and the final version is that I've added an API from kiwi.com. This API will help me to find tickets, and the response I will get from kiwi.com API, I will format by using message factory and card factory. So 2 classes from bot framework, Microsoft bot framework, and my Flybot will be connected to Microsoft Teams. So to achieve this, I needed to use a bot channel registration Azure service, which allows me to connect my chatbot, so my server with channels, in this case Microsoft Teams. Bot channel registration, as I said, allows to connect your bot with a couple of channels. We can connect chatbots with Microsoft Teams, Telegram, websites, Slack, and obviously Messenger. It's also possible to connect your chat with WhatsApp. It's supported by community. So let's have a look at the final version of my Flybot. So let's start with chit chat. You can see it works. So let's find some ticket. I need a ticket from Warsaw to JFK on Christmas Eve this year. So let's have a look at the response. Okay, so as you can see, Flybot found some tickets from me. And this is a great feature that we can, on Microsoft Teams, we can show, besides text, also graphics. We have some carousel here, so we can scroll some options, and we have also some button which will redirect us to the website where we can finalize this transaction. Okay, so thanks. I wanted to say thanks. So let's have a look at the response from our chatbot. You're welcome. So as you can see, it works. And that's all I prepared for you for today. If you'd like to stay in touch with me, you can find me on Twitter, on GitHub, and obviously on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for today. Thank you very much for this invitation. Take care, guys. Bye.